Whenever a good child dies, he said softly, an angel of God comes down from heaven, takes the dead child in his arms, spreads out his great white wings, and flies with him over all the places which the child had loved during his life. Then he gathers a large handful of flowers, which he carries up to the Almighty, that they may bloom more brightly in heaven than they do on earth. And the Almighty presses the flowers to his heart. But he kisses the flower that pleases him best, and it receives a voice, and is able to join the song of the chorus of bliss. These words were spoken by an angel of God, as he carried a dead child up to heaven, and the child listened as if in a dream. They passed over familiar places where the little one had often played, and through beautiful gardens full of lovely flowers. "Which of these shall we take with us to heaven to be transplanted there?" the angel asked gently. Nearby stood a slender, beautiful rose bush, but some wicked hand had broken the stem, and the half-opened rosebuds hung faded and withered on the trailing branches. Poor rose bush! Let us take it with us to heaven, that it may bloom above in God's garden. The angel tenderly took up the rose bush. Then, with infinite gentleness, he kissed the child, and the little one half opened his eyes. The angel gathered more beautiful flowers, along with some humble buttercups and heart's ease. "Now we have flowers enough," the child said contentedly. The angel only nodded, but didn't fly upward to heaven. It was night, and quite still in the great town. They remained hovering over a small, narrow street, where lay a large heap of straw, ashes, and sweepings from the houses of people who had moved away. Among fragments of plates, pieces of plaster, rags, and old hats, the angel pointed to something special: the pieces of a broken flower pot and a lump of earth that had fallen out of it. The earth was held together by the roots of a withered field flower, thrown amongst the rubbish. "We will take this with us," the angel said thoughtfully. "I will tell you why as we fly along." As they soared through the night sky, the angel began his tale. Down in that narrow lane, the angel began softly, in a low cellar lived a poor sick boy. He had been afflicted from his childhood, and even in his best days, he could just manage to walk up and down the room on crutches once or twice, but no more. During some days in summer, he continued warmly, the sunbeams would lie on the floor of the cellar for about half an hour. In this spot, the poor sick boy would sit warming himself in the sunshine, watching the red blood through his delicate fingers as he held them before his face. Then he would say contentedly, "I have been out," the angel said with tender understanding. Yet he knew nothing of the green forest in its spring verdure, until a neighbor's son brought him a green bough from a beech tree. This he would place over his head, the angel said dreamily, and fancy that he was in the beechwood while the sun shone, and the birds caroled gaily. "One spring day," he continued, his voice brightening, "the neighbor's boy brought him some field flowers, and among them was one to which the root still adhered. This he carefully planted in a flower pot and placed in a window seat near his bed. And the flower," the angel said with joy, "had been planted by a fortunate hand, for it grew, put forth fresh shoots, and blossomed every year. It became a splendid flower garden to the sick boy and his little treasure upon earth. He watered it," he said tenderly, "and cherished it, and took care it should have the benefit of every sunbeam that found its way into the cellar, from the earliest morning ray to the evening sunset. The flower entwined itself even in his dreams. For him it bloomed, for him spread its perfume, and it gladdened his eyes, and to the flower he turned even in death when the Lord called him. He has been 1 year with God, the angel said softly. During that time the flower has stood in the window, withered and forgotten, till at length cast out among the sweepings into the street on the day of the lodger's removal. And this poor flower, withered and faded as it is, we have added to our nosegay, because it gave more real joy than the most beautiful flower in the garden of a queen. But how do you know all this? Asked the child wonderingly. The angel's voice filled with emotion as he replied, I know it, because I, myself, was the poor sick boy who walked upon crutches, and I know my own flower well. Then the child opened his eyes and looked into the glorious, happy face of the angel. At that very moment, they found themselves in that heavenly home where all is happiness and joy. And God pressed the dead child to his heart, and wings were given him so that he could fly with the angel, hand in hand. Then the Almighty pressed all the flowers to his heart, but he kissed the withered field flower, and it received a voice. Then it joined in the song of the angels, who surrounded the throne, some near, and others in a distant circle, but all equally happy. They all joined in the chorus of praise, both great and small, the good, happy child, and the poor field flower that once lay withered and cast away on a heap of rubbish in a narrow, dark street. Dear friends, as we end our story tonight, let's take a moment to reflect on this beautiful tale that Hans Christian Andersen shared with us. You see, in God's garden, every flower has its purpose, every soul its place. Sometimes the most precious treasures aren't found in grand palaces or beautiful gardens, but in the simplest of places, like a withered flower that brought joy to a lonely child. As you drift off to sleep tonight, remember that just like that humble field flower, your small acts of kindness, your patient endurance, and your gentle spirit matter more than you know. In God's eyes, true beauty isn't about perfection. It's about the love we share and the joy we bring to others. Until tomorrow, may your dreams be blessed with the peace of knowing that you too are precious in God's garden. Good night, dear friends.